Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and today we have our very first look at the gameplay from the new Division mobile game, The Division Resurgence. Now, we knew that the gameplay reveal was coming soon, as a lot of people have been saying on Twitter and online. We don't know exactly when. I assume it's going to be pretty soon because this trailer, or just like gameplay session kind of walkthrough, has released earlier than intended on some places on the internet. Some people are already doing videos on it, and so I want to show you guys what's up with it and give my thoughts on some of the stuff. So again, while this hasn't yet been shared to the official game's Twitter account, I'm sure that's probably going to happen soon, but for now I'm going to show you the trailer, and then I'm going to kind of go through it and break down certain bits that I want to talk about, show you some things that I found and I saw that I thought were pretty interesting. So without further ado, let's get into it. Here's the gameplay trailer for The Division Resurgence.
Welcome, Agent, to The Division Resurgence. My name is James, and today I want to show you some exclusive gameplay captured directly on mobile. In The Division Resurgence, we have recreated the original cover shooter gameplay with a whole new story and scope of missions. Our journey today starts in a location that should feel familiar. It's your base of operations. Let's join up with our teammate and start our mission. As we walk out of the base of operations, we get our first glimpse at a New York recreated in your mobile device. The game is totally open world and the city is huge. So we'll be using the minimap tool to identify the task at hand and pinpoint its location. Our route is now highlighted and we are free to roam around, explore, or head straight to our destination. After a short walk around the block, we engage with the selected side activity and encounter our first enemies. The Division Resurgence brings new classes to the game, and for this mission my teammate is using the Vanguard specialization, allowing him to spot our targets. As a demolitionist, I'm an explosive expert and have access to the fan favorite seeker mines for a quick and easy takeout. As you can see, specializations or classes enhance the strategic layer to the game, each with its own abilities and choice of skill trees. The interface has been completely adapted to mobile, placing all the controls at your fingertips and customizable to your preferences. This allows you to quickly engage your targets, use skills, and take cover to be as effective as possible during combat. Throughout your exploration of the open world, you will encounter many different factions, each with its unique enemy archetypes and combat styles, some even using drones, which can be really hard to get. Anyway, looting and crafting are key to making sure you've always got the best weapons and gear. The time needed for missions, activities and encounters has been reduced, enabling you to game on the go in short bursts. With the Division Resurgence, we want to ensure players can equip a vast array of weapons and gear and tailor their character to their preferred playstyle, or have fun theory crafting the best builds for dealing with various enemies, situations or missions. Here we are going through our latest finds and making sure we are truly invincible. It's time now to head back out to see what the city that never sleeps has in store for us. Thank you for joining.
Alright, so there is the trailer, guys. I'm going to start looping it back through so you can just watch some of the gameplay while I talk, but this is the Division Mobile. Like, they weren't kidding when they said that this was going to be basically a recreation of the same type of game that the Division 1 and 2 are on consoles and PC. Even though you can obviously tell it's a mobile game, and there are some downsides to this gameplay trailer, I would say, that I'm going to go over a little bit later in the video, it's still a recreation of the Division that we all know and love. There's an open world, there's build making, there's PvP in the Dark Zone, we're going to talk about that, but it's really just crazy to see this come to life on a mobile platform. Even though it's, still very different in a lot of ways, it still maintains what I think makes the Division so special, and I really appreciate that. So let's go through and talk about some of the things that I found pretty noteworthy and interesting, and the first one is, this just hits with so much nostalgia. This is the Division 1 recreated. It's basically the Division 1.5, as I said before, because you're playing in the world of the Division 1 and in that time period, but with a lot of improvements and quality of life stuff that we've seen added since the Division 2. And I think it's going to create a really cool experience. But as you see when this starts out, you're right in the exact same base of operations. Like, it's just so reminiscent of everything that we loved about the Division 1 way back in 2016, and I'm really excited to relive a lot of that stuff. But then when they get outside, they open the map, and this is where you can really see what's super interesting about some of this, is because it's really a blend of the Division 1 but also with a lot of new stuff. So if you look at this map right here, you can see that this is obviously a 1-to-1 map of what we had in the Division 1. The base of operations is the same. I think it's a post office, right? Something like that. And then you can see on the bottom right, we have the exact same safe houses, the cavern, the meat locker. I'm sure we're all familiar with those. You can see some of the other, you can see the dark zone on the side in the exact same place where it was in the Division 1. So a lot of this stuff is the same, but then you also have some new stuff. You see right there where the agent is headed to, the Spring Blossom Settlement. That's not there at whatever spot that is in Division 1's map. And obviously the Freemen aren't a faction in the Division 1. So there are things that are changing from what was in the Division 1, but it's using a lot of the same bones and structure, which I think a lot of people are going to be very happy with. Additionally, this begins to give us a bit of a glimpse of what the overall game structure is going to be. You can see on the side that they have a main mission called Regaining Your Strength. That's obviously not one from the Division 1, so I don't think we're going to see a one-to-one of like, go do Madison Square Garden and then Napalm Center and all that stuff. It's not going to be like that, but it's going to take place in the same world. So they have that main mission, side missions. There's going to be world events. It would be cool if those were shared with other players. I'm not sure if that's something they're planning on or not. But then the other thing that I found really interesting about this map, well, I guess there were two things. One is that they call the base of operations the New York City base of operations. Does that imply that we could also be going to DC or some other location? Or, why is it necessarily labeled that? Could just be nothing. I thought that was noteworthy, though. I thought I'd point it out. And then also, at the top of the map, you can see there's a few tabs open. All activities, daily quests, weekly bounties, dark zone. But then look at the very left side, battlefield. What is that? I don't know. Could that be a new game mode? Could that be some sort of progression system? I don't know. But again, stuff I just noticed and wanted to point out to you all. I think it's very interesting. Next up, I want to talk about some of the build making, because what this gameplay trailer really tells us is that yes, build making is simplified to a degree, but that's kind of expected. It's a mobile game, but it still retains a lot of what makes the Division's build making so fun. As you can see right here, they're comparing two different pieces of gear. And while there's no attributes per se, there's not crit damage or health. Well, I guess health is there, but stuff like in Division 2, crit damage, skill haste, stuff in that category, those things don't really seem to be there. But what we are getting with pieces this time around is a base health value, which again, health, not armor, going back to that style of things like Div 1, I love it. And what looks to be the main kind of RNG per piece is what type of main attribute distributions you're getting, and that's really going to determine what type of build you have. And that's very similar to the Division 1 with firearms, toughness, and skill power. Looks like we have a red one, a blue one, and a yellow, which represent the same, types of things. I don't know what exactly names they'll call them, but you can see DPS, armor, and skill stuff is the basic breakdown of what those are. We then also still have talents. That chess piece has a talent called Grounded. Very glad that we have talents in the game. And then everything has mods, including the gear and the weapons. So that seems to be the basic breakdown of builds in the Division Resurgence, along with your specialization. And that's completely fine with me. As long as we have some form of build making, I am happy. And that looks like what we're getting here. It wouldn't make sense to make it like insanely complicated since they're trying to make this accessible to a wider audience, and I think this was a good middle ground to reach. Next up, I did want to talk about some of the gun performance or progression stuff that we see later on. You see kind of a track of different weapons. I don't know if you unlock more stuff over time, and that's how you initially unlock more weapons or what, but they also go deeper into what looks like a police M4 here, and you can see that you actually spend some type of material to upgrade different stats on the gun, and that's a little bit different from what we're used to in the Division 1 and 2. It gives me a little bit of concern that this could end up being a pay-to-win sort of model where, you get a gun and you have to spend materials to upgrade it, and, you could get those materials through gameplay, or you can buy a bundle of 10,000 of them in the store for $50. A little worried that that's the path we could be headed down. Again, the account on Twitter did kind of make it seem like there would be no pay-to-win elements in this game. It would just be cosmetic-only microtransactions. I really hope that is the case. But as far as my skepticism, this is where it's starting to arise. When I see stuff like this, I'm like, well, that's where they could pretty easily implement pay-to-win stuff if they chose to. Considering there's PvP in the game, I really hope that's not the case, but we will have to wait and see. The one thing I did want to point out here as well that I find really interesting is in the bottom left, you can see they kind of have like a stat pentagon where you choose, you can see what they have there: accuracy, reload speed, optimal range, movement speed, and stability. I don't know if that's a customizable thing where the more you invest towards one of those, it decreases from the others, but I kind of like that breakdown. That's not really something we've had in the Division 1 or 2, and I don't know, it could be a really fun way to kind of tweak your builds, tweak your setups and your guns, and so yeah, that one seems pretty cool. As far as that stuff goes, that's about all I had to point out there, but yeah, definitely keep an eye on some of the upgrade stuff with guns and gear, because little concern that could end up being pay to win, but we'll have to wait and see. That's just something I noticed. And then really the last overall thing I wanted to touch on was one of my personal negatives from this, but it's tempered, and that is the performance. Obviously, it's quite choppy at this stage. Now, it is important to remember, and they say the entire time in the bottom left, this is alpha footage. Alpha is very early on. I mean, obviously there are good ways into the game, but it goes alpha, then beta, then release. So there's still at least 2 stages away from releasing this thing. There's going to be a lot of testing, a lot of iteration, a lot of optimization and improvements, but at this stage, it is a bit choppy. Now, I know that's very dependent on what settings you run for a mobile game. That can, your performance can range widely depending on your device and your settings, so it's very up in the air as to how it's going to perform on an individual case-by-case basis, but I would certainly hope that they can at least make it a little bit more stable by launch. And I'm sure that will come, but that's just something I wanted to point out and something I noticed personally. Beyond that, like I said, I'm very impressed by what I'm seeing here. The movement seems really fun. The cover seems like it works well. The skills are integrated well. The specializations are there. The build is there. I mean, it's crazy. I could have never imagined in a million years that this is the type of experience we would be getting with The Division Mobile, but dare I say, I'm very excited to get into this game and try this stuff out, and this gameplay has even more solidified my viewpoint on that. So that's about all I've got today for my breakdown of the Division Resurgence gameplay trailer, everybody. I hope you enjoyed and found that useful, and I really want to hear your thoughts about what you're thinking about this mobile gameplay. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe with notifications on to be updated every time I upload. Let me know your thoughts, as I just said, about this gameplay trailer. What did you like? What did you not like? What are you thinking about the game overall? Again, this is alpha footage. Stuff is definitely going to change before launch. It says quality not final. Obviously, there's a long ways to go, but I think this gives us a really good look at what the game has to offer, and especially considering they just confirmed that the DZ and PvP is going to be present, I'm more excited than ever for this mobile game. And again, I never really thought it would be that way when they first announced it last year. But I'm more than happy to be proven wrong, and I really can't wait to get my hands on The Division Resurgence. That's going to do it for me today, though, everybody. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until the next one, guys, RogueGold out.